What is up, Ordinary Heroes? It's Monty once again. Hope you guys are doing amazing today. I was listening to a really interesting podcast the other day, and it talked about how in self-development, when you become aware of your flaws, it's hard to feel normal again. And that was something that really struck me as interesting. I've been listening to Jim Rohn, Tony Robbins, Les Brown, a few other kinds of people for over a decade now, and I've integrated a lot of that into my personality, but one thing I've always struggled to overcome is my limiting beliefs. And today's topic, more or less, is about how any limitation is enough to give you permission to not pursue your dreams. And if you want to get anywhere in life, pursuing your dreams is going to be paramount. I've worked a lot of retail jobs. I've had a lot of bosses that, not to be rude or negative, but we're bosses, not very good leaders, just people who happen to get paid hourly to tell other people what to do. And that's perfectly fine. That's a reasonable way to live life. But I think the better way to live life really is to find what passion or unique value you offer the world and find ways to offer that at every opportunity. For me, during a lot of the jobs I have, I tend to focus on people who are just had their first or second job and not really sure what their future entails. I try to help them draw out their passion and find out what would be fun to do for the next 10, 20, 30 years. And that very well may change. A long time ago, I thought I was going to be working like my dad did, fixing up cars or working on machinery. My first ever job was at a factory, actually. Turns out after 2 or 3 years, this wasn't my kind of thing. I actually really like working with people. Having mentioned limiting beliefs, I've discovered one of my limiting beliefs is I'm happy to do just about anything for a paycheck. But I have a lot of trouble gapping the bridge of earning a paycheck hourly versus providing a service and getting paid directly based on results. It's a pretty common problem that people run into, but for me, it's a unique problem. They say that the monster you face is the scariest one because it's a monster you're aware of. And I think that's very true. Stuff like making these little videos and things like that are difficult because I allow them to be. They're kind of like my personal boogeyman, The second you put something out online, the second it can never be taken back. Concepts of how long a video should be, how short, how punctual or how rambling, all those kinds of things factor into one simple thing. Just not making content in the first place. We even have a person weed eating up here, which is something that is enough of an excuse on an ordinary day to keep me from recording. But a little background noise doesn't hurt anybody. And if I make 100 of these videos and in total they get 100 views, that's all experience. So my major thing today is I would like to, for anybody who happens across this video, hear what goals and journey you're working on. For me, I've had a lot of fun this month, actually, just taking some time, sitting back, listening to music, and working on sprite art. I actually happen to love video games, and one of my favorite video games is Super Mario Brothers for the NES. My mom and I used to play that all the time as a kid, and it's something I've lost touch with, is just enjoying the simple beauty of things. And so now I put on lo-fi for an hour or two, and I'll pull out my graph paper and sketch out some ideas or make a key for what I want to make next. And a day or so later, usually on the weekends when I have some free time, I'll just sit and listen to a few podcasts I have queued up and create some stuff to put on my wall. It's really nice too, because I usually don't value my artistic ability or my ability to think and create things the way that other people seem to say they do. But taking the time to manifest something physically, even if it's just inspired by other people's creations, that gives me a sense of independence and ownership over my own thoughts. And that's been a very freeing experience. It's one of those interesting things where, I listen to podcasts of people who make, $100,000, $200,000 a year doing life coaching and stuff like that, the thing that I have every ambition of making $200 a month doing. I'll listen to people make content, and they'll kind of meander like I do, just ramble along and express themselves. And I find it so interesting. I find it super fun to listen to. But anytime I hear my own voice, I become very judgmental and reserved. So part of making these little videos is also just to give myself permission to put my voice out there. As I was saying, though, I would love to hear what all of you guys have that you're going to work on, or that you find meaningful in life currently. Full disclosure, I happen to be working a seasonal Halloween job right now. Hopefully, if all goes well, I'll be able to do a lot more in the winter time, but for now, it's putting a little bit of money away and making sure the animals have food. And there's not really a whole lot more to life than taking care of your basics. One of the more interesting puzzles I came across yesterday while listening to my daily podcast was somebody asked, if you could write down your biggest fears about pursuing whatever goal or dream you had, what would they be? And for me, it was, losing our home or having to get a full-time job again. And that was also the person that I was listening to in the podcast. That was his fears, was when he first started, he was scared he was going to lose his job and lose his home because he invested too much money and time into something that may not work out. And then, if that happened, he might have to move in with his parents. And I was like, damn, I'm already kind of at that stage of life. I left a job that was a pretty good one to pursue some personal time in my mental health. And, well, you don't make a whole lot of money, taking care of yourself mentally in this society. So things weren't very good financially for a while, but in the end, we balanced it all out. I happen to have a loving partner and a loving wife, and we all work together to make sure the business is a loving business for everybody involved. But, when I used to be the financial powerhouse of the home and I took a step back to actually figure out what I wanted from life, that was a huge vulnerability for me. And I think as scary as making these videos are, I think as terrifying as the concept of posting them can be, just because of anxiety, if I'm truthful. I think the scariest thing I've done in quite a few years is let somebody else take the reins and allow somebody else to be the one who gets the final say in things. And there's a lot of power in that vulnerability. There's a lot of power in being able to say, hey, I need to take care of myself for a few moments. If you guys trust you can handle things. And honestly, at that particular point, even if they didn't trust they could, I believe we'd all figure it out. So I took the plunge, and it's been a very interesting 6 months, but I'm honestly in a much happier place than I was, and I feel like the relationships that I have are a lot more meaningful and more direct. So, with that, this has been a wonderful little session sharing with you guys. If you'd like to make a response video, if you'd like a specific topic discussed, or if you'd like to have anything about you mentioned, feel free to leave it in the comments below. My goal is to start actually finding coaching clients next month to work with. Making these videos is very similar to me to talking with somebody online. Anything involving a phone or a computer basically scares me. But it's okay to have fears as long as you're progressing. And that was the big thing that I discovered yesterday, is it's okay to be afraid and take action. I hope that you guys will choose to do the same on whatever important endeavor you have, and you're always welcome to come back to this channel and leave little progress updates in the comments. I look forward to hearing from y'all. This is Monty, the Coaching NPC, signing out, and I'll be back tomorrow. Have a great day.